in the foot clinic, there was a doctor there. He had a bunch of students with him, and they were molding a cast for my foot to keep my foot straight while I was sitting in the wheelchair. And I asked him, I said, "Doctor, what can I do to help my foot, or just be in a position where they can get better?" Because I already knew that I was not keeping that wheelchair. I just wanted to get out. And he turned to me, matter of factly, no smile, no, nothing. Just simply said, "Oh, there's nothing you can do. You're going to be deformed." And when he said that, it told me two things. One, the doctor didn't know I just was not accepting the chair. So I was not going to give up. And then the second thing he didn't realize was, man, you just told me I could never walk again. It's
Yeah. Ouch.
so that was like, wow, okay. So that's when that put fire under me, because it was almost like he took away something that I felt like was right there. I just had to figure it out. And that's when the journey began. And I started talking to different people. There were people that I knew that were successful, that overcame the condition. I started talking to them. I started doing a lot of internal, mental, and emotional work, because as this was happening to me, I started to discover all these different negative patterns and habits and things I had going on. And in order for me to be in a position of being well and healed, those were roadblocks. So I had to go into that area as well, because what I discovered was, even when I found someone who was successful and had success with something, I wasn't getting results when I did it. And I'm just like, well, why not? I know everybody's different, but it was the internal work that was creating another barrier. Like, I really had a lot, and I didn't know at the time that those things started to come up, because all of the doubt that came in now. And I even wonder, I never doubted I was going to walk again. Well, let's just say I never saw myself not walking again, but I wondered if it would happen. I just was just like, is it going to really happen for me? But I just kept pushing. So eventually, through talking to so many people, trying different things, a lot of prayer, because I'm a big Christian, and a lot of different techniques that I came across that really did the trick, I started walking again. And let me tell you, every time I tell the story, I tell people every day I am very grateful when I am able to get up the chair and just walk. And initially I used to limp a lot, and I would take the limp. I'd rather take the limp than the wheelchair any day. So it was just a miracle for me, because I just wondered. I wondered if it would ever happen again. And I've been walking ever since. It was 2009 when I started walking, and I used crutches at the time, and I was using different apparatuses, but my feet were on the ground, and the wheelchair wasn't moving me anymore. And now I don't really use anything. And of course, because of the wonderful new age practices they have, it's really been a blessing to get out of that chair. But I'll tell you, if I would have waited till now, which I mean, I don't know, I didn't know then what I know now. But if I would have waited to now for all these different things and all these different autoimmune conditions, how they're being treated now, I don't think I would have. I don't even know if I would be here, honestly, because my health was declining rapidly. But that was my journey, and all these different techniques that I've discovered through my own personal experience and through successful people. I have a mission now with Defy the Odds with Donna, to kind of share them, because I say to myself, if I had someone that just took the time and just told me, look, you're going to hear this. Look, it's up to you. You decide your future, and here are some things that you can do to help. I would have, man, I don't know what I would have done. And since I didn't have that, I want to be that for someone else. So that's how Defy the Odds came together.
Wow, that's such an outstanding story. And I apologize, I didn't hit record right a while ago. Would you share again how many months that you were in a wheelchair, confined to the wheelchair, after you started to experience?
Right. Well, I was diagnosed, and then 2 years after that, it declined, and I ended up bedridden. And then I went to rehab therapy for 4 months, and I was able to work to get back into a wheelchair, but I was in that wheelchair for 9 years after that.
Wow.
So Yeah, and then after I started walking, that's now like since 2009. It's been about 6, 7 years.
Wow. I mean, that story just gives me chills. I mean, uh, it's such a powerful story of what the human mind and the human spirit can do. When somebody believes they can or they believe they can't, they're right. And that's, you know, and you said to yourself, you kind of doubted at times that you ever walk again. What do you remember anything that a point of time that's like, damn it, I'm going to do this. I'm
I always felt like I'm gonna figure it out, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any answers. People around me didn't have any answers at that time. This was it. Like you had it. And I remember in therapy, there was another lady that was diagnosed with the same thing I was diagnosed with, and because she had like 6 years before me, and she was on the medication, and the byproduct of all the medication she was taking, because it was a lot of pills at that time, she ended up with 4 other conditions.
wow.
So the prospect of figuring it out, walking again. I didn't know the how. I just knew the why,
Yes.
and I couldn't let the why go. Because Ralph, the alternative was what? Give up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was the early grave for me. So it's like you either just get ready for start the funeral arrangements or get to walking.
Yes.
So it was more about that, the why.
Yeah. I think that's that determination. Napoleon Hill talks about when his son was born without ears, he was determined that his son was going to hear, and he helped instill in his son that determination. Les Brown, another one, is just, he says, you just have to believe it's possible. It's not
Right.
it's not for us to know. And like you didn't know how you were going to do it, but sometimes you just got to believe it is possible. And when you believe that, when you plant that seed of, this is going to happen, this is possible, your energy fuels that and enhances and helps that grow to be, to become a reality. And that's, to me, that's so powerful. And the story that you share is just, like I said, it gives me chills. It's very, very inspiring. And to see your spirit and how lively and how much energy you have, it always is amazing. I just truly appreciate, that inspiration that you are to people. So.
And you're an inspiration, because I've heard your story as well, and it's very inspiring. Like planting, especially with the concept of planting seeds. If you think about it, that's what we both kind of did. And it's not only planting seeds in the people around us, but I think it's planting seeds in ourselves, that we give ourselves that much value to just keep pressing forward. And then everything and everyone else kind of responds to that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we ourselves respond to it, planting the seeds. And I keep going back to that every time I hear a inspirational story. And this is just something, there's other ways metaphors of saying the same thing. But, being said, I was born and raised on a farm, this is something that I really relate to. And when I hear an inspiring story like yours or other stories, or see even negative events happen, it's a seed that we plant and we focus on, and then we reap that harvest. Whether it be a very positive, successful story like yours, or whether it be a downward spiral when an event happens that we stay focused on that negativity, and it keeps bringing us down, because that what we focus on, we bring about, and that's what we're going to harvest. So that negativity, and it's been very easy for you to accept the doctor's, diagnosis and say, hey, you're not going to walk again, and just lay back and take it. And that's, to me, that's, some people rise above that, defy the odds and rise above it. And there's others. And sometimes if we only, and this is part of my mission, to go out and share with people, no matter what type of struggles they're going through, that struggle does not define them. That struggle is not going to be the end all. It's your choice to look at that event and make something of it. I know I share with people that the struggles that I've gone through life, I look back and I look at those as blessings. Do you feel the same way, that the experience that you had is a blessing, that it helped you define or help you become the person, the determination that you have today?
Yes, I absolutely believe that. And as a matter of fact, I believe that everyone has a story. My story may have been a bit intense with regards to the physicality of walking and things of that and things of that area, but somebody's story, if they have a story, it's all a matter of making sure that no matter how they started, they have an idea. They take control, they take ownership and become the author of how it finishes, or the path they start to take. Because I think everyone has a story because they need to have a story to tell. It's theirs to tell. It's not like, I don't think anyone can ever say they just was born and had nothing going on. I mean, that just doesn't happen. It's to have something to share with the world when they believe that it's valuable enough, because everyone has their own odd to defy.
Yeah. Everyone wakes up each day with a clean sheet of paper.
Yeah.
It's up to them to draft their own story, and like I started saying, my goal, my mission here, in sharing Plant Seeds Carefully, no matter what type of struggle you're going through, whether it be a physical struggle, whether it be a relationship struggle, whether it be a career struggle, a health struggle, it's we can sit back and accept that,
right,
and let it go spiral downward, or we can go out and create our own story and do something that's going to change. And I say the quote several times because it's so meaningful to me. Robert Louis Stevenson: "Judge each day not by the harvest we reap, but rather by the seeds that we sow." And what we have today, when we look in the mirror or when we think about ourselves, is the harvest that of our previous thoughts of what we did. And if we want something different, we have to judge that day by the seeds, by the things that we've done, to improve. Your story reminds me of the Chinese bamboo, which is, you plant that seed, water it, fertilize it, nothing happens. A year later, you water it and fertilize it, nothing happens. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and finally in that 5th year, it emerges, and within 6 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. That persistence that you have to give to it, that desire, that unstoppable, unwavering faith that you have to have to believe that it's possible. And sometimes the humiliation or your ego, worrying about what other people might say or think and things, you have to block all that out and just have that unstoppable faith, planting that seed. Some seeds we plant, they grow right away. We can start a business and we can see immediate results. Sometimes it's the seed that we plant and continue to work at, that it takes a long, long time. And sometimes, that seed, could be a negative seed too. It's not uncommon. You see somebody who has had a relationship issue and they parted ways, and they meet someone new. In a matter of time, they part ways. You know, is it that they maybe planted that seed that, you know, that this person or a man or a woman is going to do this to them again, and so they plant that seed, and eventually they're going to harvest that crop, because that's their mindset, that's what they believe, and they hold close to their heart that that's what they're going to experience. You know, so you know, planting seeds carefully is about, and I see that related to pretty much everything that people talk about. So I lost Donna here. Hopefully she comes back, but you know, it's amazing, you know, what the mind can do, and with just, you know, thought and, you know, that determination, that focus, that we will, what we think about, we bring about. It is truly amazing that we create our own lives. You know, that's a mindset that I had years ago, was that, you know, life was happening to me rather than that I was creating my life. Have you ever had that experience, Donna? That,
Yeah.
you know, life.
Yes. I wondered why these things were happening. But then I realized, going back to what I was saying, that this is actually the story I was supposed to tell. Like, this is what I guess my journey was meant to happen for. I have this moment with you right now to discuss it and talk about planting seeds, and I feel like I was being guided at that point.
Yep. And sometimes when we go through those challenges, we don't see, you know, that they are blessings.
Yes.
You know, and every storm runs out of rain, every winter runs out of cold, and every summer runs out of heat. Every hill and every mountain has a top, and this too shall pass. You know, it is amazing when we can, you know, focus on when we're going through a struggle. You know, I know when I shifted my mindset to, when I have a struggle, to believe that there's a blessing in this. There's a blessing in this. And when you receive something like that, and you are thankful for challenges in life, and you can start changing that mind shift to appreciate even the challenges in life, then it's like, bring it on. Nothing's going to happen. You know, going back to plant seeds carefully, you know, being raised on a farm, we took manure and put it on the ground to make the ground fertilized. Okay. We don't like to talk about manure, but we all have that crud in our life. But that crud helps us fertilize our mind, enrich our minds to grow and be more productive. So those challenges, looking back, you know, those are blessings when you see what the results. And sometimes when we go through that, it's like, why do I need that? I don't need that. But Eckhart Tolle talks about, he walked into this chapel and he seen this image that he's seen thousands and thousands of times. And the image was Christ on the crucifix. And it dawned on him. It finally dawned on him. You know, if Christ hadn't come down and had all these human experiences of pain, suffering, anguish, turmoil, all that human experiences, we wouldn't have the beautiful resurrection. So when you look at it from that viewpoint, you know, look at it when we have those challenges, it just makes it like, hey, there's something more beautiful on the other side. I'm going to get through this. And I always say that the most beautiful scenery is on the detours. So when we have a life challenge and we're forced to go in a different direction, when you're forced to have that willpower, that determination to walk again, through that process, you probably have a new appreciation just to walk than most people.
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn how to walk again. Like I really, it was so almost surreal, the idea that I had to learn how to walk again. Like I didn't know how to do it, and it was. I tell you, Ralph, when people, you don't really appreciate the little things until you just don't have it. And that was a little thing like walking. I mean, that's actually a big thing, but not
Yeah.
doing that and having that again, I was like a kid in a candy store.
Yes. I when you get up in the morning and we talk about different times, we talk about rituals. One of mine is when I first wake up, I before I get out of bed, I think of 5 things to be grateful for.
Mhm.
And when my feet hit the floor, and as I walk out of my bedroom, each time I take a new step, I say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. To me, it's a mindset. I'm planting those seeds for that day, because when you can be grateful for each step you take,
Yes.
and you had that experience. My experience wasn't nearly as challenging as yours in the automobile accident. And when I was able to walk up and get up and walk out of the bed and make it to the bathroom the first time, wow. You
Yeah.
know, it just changes perspective. Things that we do every day. We sit here, we have nice clean water to drink.
Right.
How often do we drink, nice, fresh, clean water? And when we don't have it, wow, it's a different, the air that we breathe. When I experienced that accident and I had those punctured and collapsed lung and I couldn't breathe.
Mm,
How often do we breathe throughout the day?
right.
It Whenever I have a challenge, a lot of times if I can't find something to be thankful in that challenge, I think about some simple things like, a cool drink of water or a breath of air or the ability to maybe not walk away from the challenge, but get up and move around and say, okay, how am I going to tackle this? There's so many things to be grateful for in life that every day, every breath, and that's when you have that mindset, when you start seeing the things that are out there to be thankful for, or you can be focused on all the things that you don't think is going quite your way.
Right.
It's a big difference in the mindset. But tell a little about what you do. Far as I know, you do some real estate investing, but
Hmm.
you're
Oh,
also your program.
that's right. I'm a real estate investor, and I also work with Anna Conlon, who she is my accountability buddy. We met through a challenge that we did, and we grew to respect each other and realized that she has a program called Breaking Out of Comfort Zones, and the path that I'm on with Defy the Odds and overcoming obstacles, that it just made sense to bring them together and make it fun and turn it into an adventure. So we have this amazing adventure that I know you're on, and several wonderful people are on. And we started January 1st, and it's been such a ride, such fun. And what we basically do is we target people's comfort zones and set goals on them and areas in their lives where they just kind of left on the shelf, or even maybe if they want to just refresh another area, like in business, relationship, or health or wellness, or even just personal enrichment, like living a life of adventure. We help them kind of and guide them to break out of that comfort zone so that they can, while they're doing it, overcoming whatever obstacles come up, and then just experience life at a different level so that you can just live on your own terms. And we're a few weeks in, and I'm so excited. We're definitely going to do this again. But for right now, we're really excited about the people that are on, and we've had great reviews. I was so happy that not only do we have this program, we are on the journey with them as well. In the program, we're getting more out of our comfort zones and setting it adventures. I remember Anna posted a video about going to the Grand Canyon and just sitting on the edge of the rock. I mean, it was just, you could see how deep that rock was. It was amazing. And she did something really cool where she took the pictures. You saw the pictures. You look at her like, whoa, what is going on there? She must have been crazy. But it was so amazing to see her. I mean, she was with a guy, so she was safe. She took a calculated risk, but she just did something. And in the video, you can see how much she was just like, I want to get off, I want to get off, I want to get off. She did it anyway. It was out of fun. And, after she did it, she just talks about how she's glad she did. It's something that kind of shifted. It helps just broaden your perspective when you put yourself out there to try different and new things. And that's what this program's about. So I feel really blessed to be in a position to be doing this with her. She's an amazing person to work with, and the people are responding very well. So it's a good program. I'm really excited.
Well, from that program, the challenge or the experience, getting out of my comfort zone, and I thought about doing this blab, and I thought, I just got to do it. It's one of those things I had to break through. So this is one of the creations of the 60-day adventure, and it's amazing. And a lot of times, I know for me doing this adventure, a lot of times, when you set goals, it's easy to get focused on the huge things. Okay, I want to earn $1 million, or I want $1 million in my checking account or savings account. But sometimes we fail to, what I appreciate is the celebration Fridays and going out and celebrating, some of the things, and just coming out of your comfort zone and taking that time out. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we do that we fail to get out of that comfort zone of being poured into our business and not have any life. And that's, my daughter stopped in for a visit, first time she was home for her birthday in 17 years. And so I went out of my comfort zone and postponed some appointments in real estate. And in my book, I kind of put that on hold just to spend time with her.
And it was worth it.
And to me, that's part about, that's out of my, you have this goal and you're so focused on this goal, but sometimes you've got to live life, and you live life with no regrets, because if I publish that book a week later,
yes, you're right.
Is it, and I missed the time with my daughter, right? As I said before, be careful of little girls who daddies call them princesses because they grew up and believe everyone.
Right. And I got to tell you, I'm so proud of you because, I say proud, but just more, you surprised me. Because when we had talked before you got on, before the adventure started, and we kind of did like an impromptu session, and you revealed like certain things that you want to work on, and you mentioned the blab, and I was like, okay, great, that's something that we can, talk about, work on, and strategize. And then you started the blab like the end of the week or the following week. I'm like, yeah, Ralph, that's crushing.
Well, that and I had for it's funny how things come about when you plant those seeds. For probably over a year, maybe longer, a year and a half, I was introduced by a business coach in our area who suggested that I spoke at some of their business. I was invited to speak at some of their business things here just locally. Nothing grandiose like the stage that we are, shared in New York, but just a small, 10, 20 people business groups, and that kind of fueled me to want to speak some more. But she introduced me to a lady who is on Speaker Match. And for a year and a half, I was thinking, I ought to join that. And then to prepare for the adventure, what are some things that you should clean up?
The integrity task.
I went to the speakers match page, and they were having a special.
That's awesome.
It was about half price to the end of the year, and it's like, yes. And so boom, I did it.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, you share that with the other adventurers. I mean, that's exactly what the program's about. You are living and breathing the program right now, because that's the idea. So many people make New Year's resolutions, Ralph, and they never work because they don't have a plan. And sometimes they just need the support, because that's another thing that the program provides is we support each other. There's a big support system with like-minded individuals going in the same direction. We're all seeking out our own adventures. So it's amazing to hear that. I'm so happy. I didn't even know that part. That's amazing.
Well, when you crush it, the good and bad is when you set goals and you go out there and you do them, you just crush them. And when you crush them before the beginning of the year, before you want to set your goals, then it's like, I have to do this all over again and set some more goals.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and to me, I've used the analogy, the metaphor of running a marathon, and doing that marathon. I did a marathon in Chicago in 2005, and some things that dawned on me when I'm there, and there's to run, there's 40,000 runners, and to give a perspective of 40,000 runners, there's 6 lanes of traffic, and they put them in what they call gates. So the people who actually run the marathon are up there in 2.5 hour gates, 2.5 hour gates, and then 2:45, 3, and all the way back. And I'm back at about 4:30, 4 hours and 30 minutes, and I'm good with that. I'm more of a turtle than I am a rabbit. So, but I still complete the run. But I was back in about 4:30. They shoot the gun, and from the time they shot the gun until I came up to the start line was exactly 20 minutes. Think about that. 20 minutes, 6 lanes of traffic, 20 minutes of humanity. And it dawned on me that, the spirit, the energy around there, I doubt very seriously that anybody got up that morning and says, "Oh, I'm going to run a marathon." It's kind of like life. You have to get up each morning, get yourself in that state of mind, and do those morning rituals to go out there and run, and then run a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and build up to that. And as I'm running, I pass some runners, and I'm thinking, I'm kicking some butt here. Well, it doesn't take too long. Those same runners start passing me. And it's another life lesson. Sometimes we're going to sail. We're going to really move. And then we're going to, whatever it might be, have a struggle, or we're not going to be advancing as quick as we'd like to. But it's something that it's just going to happen. But then I realized, you know what? I'm not competing against any of the other runners. I'm competing against myself. I'm going to do the best that I possibly can do. And as you go ahead.
I think you are, and any individual person, they are their own best competitor. No one knows what they know, only themselves. So if you truly want to competing with yourself, not only would you always win, but it will stretch you. Because when you compare yourself to someone else, you limit yourself, because you're comparing yourself to abilities and a personality and character traits that you may not have. So you limit yourself to do that. That is a very powerful thing, just competing with yourself.
Well, yeah, and that's Les Brown, he talks about it's none of your business what other people think of you, and it's basically what you think of yourself. And and it's so easy. I think we're all very competitive people. That's just our nature. And so that's what I'm saying when we're out there running. And sometimes it's good to use that competitiveness to encourage us to do better. You know,
Yeah.
when I hear somebody out there speaking and their skills are way up here, you know, it's like, wow, it encourages me not to become them, but to step up. You know, there's, Roger Bannister, who ran the 4 minute mile. You know, for until that time, it was believed that it was impossible for humans to run 4 minutes. And since then,
Yeah.
you know, thousands of people have broke that, even high school, kids in track. Wow. You know,
Right.
once those barriers are broke, and it's like, you know, we see the sky as a limit, and then we go to the moon, and it's like, well, that's not the limit anymore. So I guess we look at our lives and see the things that we've done or what somebody else has done, and we see those as limits.
Right.
But when we know that those limits can be broken, that you plant that seed of, you know, I can go this and do this and go beyond that. You know, in the past, the doctor says, "Oh, you can't walk. You won't be able to walk," and you break that limit of, "Yeah, oh, yes, I can." So now that doctor's going to have, you made the doctor eat his words, and the next patient he diagnoses with the same symptoms. How can he go and say, "You'll never walk again"? He'll say, "This may be a challenge to walk again, but it can be done." You know, and once that seed is planted in somebody's mind, that yes, it can be done. You know, it's going to be a struggle, but it can be done. You know, I started going out walking, and I was kind of a couch potato, and I started walking and doing. I walked a half a mile, worked up to walking a half a mile, and then a little further. And I lived out in the country, and we had the electric poles, which were about 300 yards apart. And I started a light jog, and I would jog halfway between them and jog halfway. And I was able to work up to jogging from one telephone pole or one electric pole to the next, walk to the next pole, and then do that again. And I kept on little by little building myself up until I was able to run, 2 poles, 3 poles, and half mile, the mile. And it's just all those little steps. And it's, the little seeds that you go plant and believe in yourself that you can accomplish those things, and seeing yourself accomplish those things. And I know, probably, like you, when you start believing that you were going to walk again and you start visualizing that, didn't that add fuel to your fire to make that happen?
Absolutely. I tell you, I hear a lot of struggle people have, and a lot of it is physical. But I had a journey that went not only from physical, it was a physical, emotional, mental breaking barrier, and I would even say spiritual level. And here, the spiritual side of it is, I had to believe in something beyond myself in order for something that I had no clue how I was going to achieve it, to believe and have faith that it was going to happen. I mean, I really did, because myself, my physical self, my conscious mind was limited in terms of what I could do. So I really had to dive deep in all 3 of those areas to make it a whole experience in terms of the healing. I really feel when I was able to troubleshoot each area, make my connection spiritually, set things right emotionally and mentally, and then continue physically with pushing hard. When all of them balanced, I think that is when the healing became a breakthrough.
Yep. It's just the little steps.
Yeah. Do you feel that? I mean, because everybody's journey is different, but do you feel that you really had to dive that deep when you had the car accident? Because from what I understand, the car accident was pretty serious.
Yes, it was near fatal. And I guess, because I had, for years, uh, started to get involved with self-help, the Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, and those. And as I shared, when I first woke up, I I threw this big pity party. I was in the ICU room and I threw this big pity party. Me, myself, and I. Wow, why me? Why me? Why do I deserve this? And all this crap, all this crud,
Right.
and because I think because of what how I fertilized my soil, how I fertilized my mind with self help, I knew that wasn't going to help me, and I asked the simple question: what have I got to be grateful for now?
Right.
And that question presupposed that I had something to be grateful for. And I moved, I could feel my ribs, all the broken ribs. And it's like, well, even though it's painful, I'm alive. My wife, my children, family, and friends were stopping by, visiting. I think they were because I was in and out so much, and caregivers. I had so much good things going on. And, each day I could sense that I was getting a little bit better, a little bit stronger, and all these things to be grateful for. That was my focus. And then from that point, I feel that, I was going to rebound. I was going to rebound. My wife jokes about, because I had the breathing tubes and feeding tubes, I couldn't talk. So I wrote on it. They gave me a piece of paper and I wrote, and she showed me some of this stuff, and I'm like, how can you even read that? Because I was so in La La Land, looped up, and I said, "Where's my car?" It's funny how we think about this the immaterial things,
Yeah.
and my grandson says it so well. He was 4 at the time, or 3. He says, they had to put Papa Ralph's Yoda in the trash. I had the Toyota. They put the Yoda in the trash. And they said it was total.
Wow.
And then I responded, get me a new car. like I was going to go someplace. Like I had a neck brace for several months after the accident that I couldn't drive because of the neck brace and stuff. But get me a car, my friend who owns the Toyota dealership, he humored me and came down with a bunch of books of cars.
Oh, that's funny. You didn't say how you wanted it.
The law of attraction. But no, it's going back. If I didn't experience that accident, I feel that I appreciated life. But now I appreciate life at a whole new level. It's taken me up to a level that it's just unbelievable. And that's going back to planting seeds carefully. And it's all this stuff started right here in my mind.
Right.
It's something that people just they're miserable in life. And they've got the world. They got the whole world.
At their fingertips. Yes. It's amazing how some people just don't see or don't allow it. And it could be from anything. It could be fear. It could be complacency. It could just be not having that perspective about life that they should. But there's so many talented people out there that could just take up what they have and do some great things. But they don't see it, and a lot of it has to do with just focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah, it's you see people who have actors and actresses who have all this money, and yet they're miserable.
Yeah.
They go out and take their lives, or they go out and do drugs. It's just and my mission here, my goal here is not to tell you how to live, but to inspire you to live and create the life that you can live the best life, best possible life. So just a minute.
Planting carefully.
I have a guest stopping by. So somebody's bringing me something good. so
Hello.
Anyway.
So anybody in the audience that wants to join in and take the open seat and want to share something or struggle to overcome, or even something that you've worked on that you've seen some good harvest as from planting seeds, as Ralph said, go ahead, join in.
Please, feel free to join in. Sometimes people have to overcome that shyness, the
adventure with us.
Yeah. Hang on.
Special comfort zones. I really
I had an unexpected guest. So I didn't want to be rude and keep the door locked because it's a little chilly out here today.
Totally get that.
But no, it's been a fun conversation. Charlene Burke, she's not camera ready. She's I joined on quite a few of her blabs, and she has a blab regarding Think and Grow Rich, Morning Cafe, and some very, very good conversations on there as well. So if you have a website that you would like for people to invite people to, feel free to type it into that bar, into the chat, and love to
yes, it is.
Have you benefit by your time here as well.
Well, I appreciate you having me. I had fun. It's every time I tell that story, I forget that I was the person in it, because that's not me anymore. I'm not in the chair. But I loved hearing about you as well, because you never really know all the stuff that they've gone through, and then it makes sense how you see that they're so awesome, and you're an awesome guy. You inspire so many people, and what I love most about you is you put humor in places that you could totally surprise, like you didn't even expect it. Like you just have a random conversation, and all of a sudden you'd bring a light on an area in a humorous way, and then the experience is just tenfold. So I appreciate you and how you are with people and what you're doing and taking those steps to really impact people, because your message is a beautiful message. And I was so grateful to be on stage with you in August and hear you speak on stage, and it was such an impactful message. So I look forward to your public speaking journey as well, because people need to hear more. I mean, I know in the blabs they only get to hear little pieces here and there, but when they sit down one day, hopefully you'll be in an event near me, or I would love to have just to promote that event so people can come hear your awesome story. So thank you so much for having me on. I know that you probably have to go now because your guest is there, right?
But no, that they left. But yeah, it's about plant the seed of giving. Last week was my birthday, and I challenged everybody, as I did on the site, to go out and do some random act of kindness. And the feedback that I received from that is, people said, "Hey, I gave you a birthday gift, but I got the pleasure." So there's things that we can do in our lives. There's things that we do in life that doesn't have to cost us anything. It pays. It pays to hold the door for someone, or say a kind word, or say, you know, I really appreciate you for what you do, you know, and you know, by doing that, you know, you can't raise another without raising yourself, you know, and that's the
Right.
beauty of, you know, but when we focus on the negativity in life and try to pull people down, you know, criticize people, guess what? We're pulling ourselves down while we're doing that. And like I said, my intent is not to tell anybody how to live, but inspire them to live, you know, a life that they're like, wow, this is an awesome life, you know, and wake up each day with, you know, thank God that I'm you know, alive. And you were talking about my humor. Some people don't take it as humorous. My lovely wife, she told me I could not say in public how I opened my speech in New York.
Oh, that's my favorite part.
Well, I could have left stage there and just went out and told the one-liner, and but here again, that little one-liner kind of sums up my attitude, that attitude of gratitude, of, you know, being grateful for some of the simplest things in life, you know, and when we can stay focused on that, you know, it's just, you know, it is beautiful. You know, it is really, you know, awesome to wake up in the morning and know that something really good is in store for you that day. So, but,
right.
you know, it's getting close to the top of the hour here. It's 7:56, and I'm going to wrap it up about 8. And so if anyone has any questions or would like to jump in for a quick comment, feel free to do so. We have some good people out here today. So love to hear, you know, how did you respond if you appreciated Donna's story? She is definitely a good, great inspiration. I had the pleasure of speaking with her in New York on stage, and she's just one true awesome person that is very inspirational, and how she overcome that that struggle of getting back up to walk. You know, that is just it's something that is so inspiring, and it just love. Glad that she's I can call her a friend, and I'm glad that, you know, she inspires me, and, you know, the people that we associate with, we constantly brings each other up, and she definitely, you know, she's a person that rises one's spirits, that's for sure. So
you too, Val. Thank you.
but life is so good, and as I said earlier, love the quote by Robert Louis Stevenson: "Judge not each day by the harvest you reap, but rather the seed you sow." And my request is go out and sow some seeds of gratitude, and sow some seeds of kindness, because that's what you're going to reap. If you look in the mirror and you do not like the person that's looking back at you, don't beat yourself up. You know, it's the person that you become because of the way you were thinking in the past. You can change. You can be a more loving spouse. You can be more contributor to the community. You can change the way you do business. You know, if you weren't fair in the past, doesn't mean the past doesn't equal the future. You can plant those seeds today to become the person that you really truly want to become by planting seeds carefully. So, Donna, it's been a beautiful experience. Thank you so much, and I'm glad that you took the time out to share that awesome story with me, and look forward to continuing that adventure, that 60-day adventure, and look forward what's next in store in our lives.
Right, and it was really fun coming on board. Thank you for inviting me, and I got to learn some more new things about you. So that was fun, and happy belated birthday to your daughter. I'm glad that you got a chance to spend some quality time with her. And I appreciate everyone who was able to make it on the Blab today. It's always nice to see people's faces and leave comments. So I really enjoyed being on.
Yeah, what life is outstanding.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Have a great day.
You too. See you on the next Blab.
All right. Be here next week, same time.
Same time. All right. Have a good day.
Bye.